Hey guys, it's Diamond. I hope you guys are all having a great day. In this video, I'm going to be wearing Forest because she's my newest suit. I love her so much. This is like, I am so proud of this head. I love it. Peep the worm nose. I tried a pickable nose. Turned out really well. That's besides the point. Anyway, so today's video, I'm going to be discussing tips and techniques about fursuit making that have worked really well for me personally. Now, this is in no way saying that you have to do these techniques. This is just, like, from my personal experience, how I make my suits, and what I've experimented with, like, what works, what hasn't. And I'm just going to be showing you guys some of the techniques and comparing it, and just giving general kind of advice that maybe you guys can try on your own suits if you make them. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be talking about is bucket head bases versus balaclava bases. Now, if you're new to fursuit making, you probably have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, and that's okay, because I'm going to give you guys a little rundown. So, a balaclava base method is when you have a mannequin. It can look something like this. What you do is, you take a balaclava, if you don't know what that is, it's basically just a ski mask. You can get them on Amazon for very cheap. So what you do is, you put the balaclava on there, like so, and then usually there will be, this is how I made this head specifically, there will be like a plate of foam that goes on there with the eyes and like the mouth area cut out, and then you just build on top of that, and the side of the head is just like cheek foam, and then the back of the head is just fur, and you just can sew it together. But I find that this works a lot better for me since I've tried it. I made my first couple of heads with bucket head bases, and you can clearly see a difference. Now here's an example. Oh my, okay, sorry about that. Here's an example of a bucket head base I made, and you can see just the sheer size difference with it. And a bucket head base is where you take foam, and then you, like, wrap it around a mannequin and sew it together in the back, and then cut her out the top. And I have seen some insanely amazing suits been made with this base, but, like, I personally could not get the hang of it. And if you use bucket head bases and you can make like really good suits off of it, props to you, because I found it pretty hard. So if you can actually do that, thumbs up to you. But for me personally, it just did not work out. Once I started trying balaclava bases with this suit and Delta, it worked a lot better for me. So if you're trying bucket head bases and are struggling with it, I would suggest that's a method you could maybe try, and then see if that works for you. And if it doesn't, go back. Just really do what works for you. For me, this did not work, and this might work better for some of you. So just experiment with new methods and try new things. That's always a really good way to get better at fursuit making in general. Alright, so the second thing I'm going to be talking about is pre-shaving fur. Now, some of you may not know what this is. It's basically when, so you know how you have to sew up all the seams and then glue like the fur onto the foam base? Some people choose to leave the fur how it is. Usually it's pretty long. It depends on the length of fur you use. But some people prefer to have it on the head and then glue everything down first before shaving it. And some people will take all the pieces, shave it, and then sew it and glue it onto the head. And I have tried both, and I've only done pre-shaving the fur one time. Well, I've done it with my paws. That's how I pre-shave the short fur for my paws. But for the heads, I have only pre-shaved fur for Forest. For Delta right here, I did, when you put it on the head, all long fur, and then you shave it down. By the way, the razor I use is the Oster A5 golden 2-speed razor, and I use the 7F blade. Ignore the green fur, this needs to be cleaned. It's kind of expensive, but it works so well. Like, it gives the cleanest shaves, and I highly, highly recommend it. You can get it on Chewy. I don't know if you can get it on Amazon, but just check and you'll probably find it somewhere. But for Delta, as you can see, the shaving is, they both have really good shaves, but the shaving is slightly more, like, the fur is slightly longer. There's some, like, patchy spots where you can't really angle it that well once it's on the head. But then for her, there's very few, like, shaving flaws. Like, the shaving is much more close. Like, you can see the difference in the fur length there. It's a much more close shave. And for me personally, I actually like this a lot better. So I'll be trying it again on future heads, and I'll shave the fur before I put it on, especially with her ears. Because since Forest is a corgi, corgis have really short ear fur, unlike Delta, who's supposed to have long ear fur. I love both, by the way. But for her, I had to shave down ears, which I haven't done before because I've never made an animal that has super short ear fur. But I tried it, and it worked really, really well. And that's just a method that I'll use. So maybe if you have mostly stuck to pre-shaving fur, maybe try gluing it on the head one time if you're experimenting. And if you've only done the gluing it down first and then shaving it, maybe try pre-shaving your fur, because I experimented with it this time and I like that method a lot better. So again, just experimentation is really good for fursuit making in general, and maybe you guys can try some of these different techniques. Alright, the third technique I have is specifically for paws. Look at these beans. For my paws, I have just recently done puffy paws. I've done them for Delta, I did them for Forest, and I have made 2 pairs of pre-made paws, which are still for sale. You can check it. I have the Etsy link in my previous video. It should be on the channel. It says paws for sale. Just click that video, and in the link is a link to my Etsy shop, where you can find paws like these for sale. They're $160 with free shipping to the US, so check that out. But anyway, I use the Fursuit pattern for paws. You can find that on Etsy. Fursuit is an amazing fursuit maker, and their paw pattern works so well. I absolutely love how these look. And one thing that it had that I hadn't tried before is lining the paws. Now, paw lining can be done with pretty much any fabric, but it works best if it's like a lycra material, pretty much exactly like how balaclavas are made. It's just called lycra fabric. You can get it on Etsy, at your fabric stores, pretty much anywhere. But how this works is you just create basically a glove with it, and then once the paws are inside out, you sew it on to like each finger so that it's just kind of down there, and then when you turn it inside out, it makes the lining inside of the paws, and it prevents sweat from getting all in there, and it's a really good way to cool down too, because it kind of wicks the sweat away. But I actually highly recommend lining your paws. You don't have to do this. This is one of those things that's like, it's completely optional. It just makes it kind of easier to clean them. And if you want to know how to do that, Fursuit actually has a tutorial on how to make the paws. So check that out. They go into like more detail than I can. But if you're making especially puffy paws, because with these, the stuffing just kind of, you stick it down above the lining, and then you sew the lining around right here so it can't really come back up. But it works really well for puppy paws. I just highly recommend it if you haven't tried it yet. Again, it's completely optional, but I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It just makes them so much more comfortable to wear. Alright, the next technique is sewing ear fur to the face fur and back of the neck fur. Now, this is pretty much it's like the most helpful if you do balaclava bases. I haven't tried this on a bucket head base, but I'd assume it would work the same way. It would just be kind of harder because there's like foam at the back and not just straight fur. But I'm going to show this to you on Forest because Delta has very long fur in the back, so it's just really hard to tell what I'm actually talking about. So a lot of people will just like, when you make a fursuit, well, the way I do it at least, I do the ear fur completely separately, so there's like space in between the face fur, back of the head fur, and ear fur, so it's just kind of there. A really good method to make your suits more durable and just kind of high quality in general, this is completely optional, but it's sewing that fur to the back of the fur with a ladder stitch. Now, if you don't know how to do a ladder stitch, there's a bunch of tutorials for it on YouTube, so just look that up and then you can try it. But it's basically sewing all the fur together so that there's no open seams left. And some people glue the seams there, which is okay, but it just makes it, it's just slightly less durable, and it can sometimes be more obvious that it's glued. You can do it either way. It just depends on how you want to do it and how you want your suits to come out. It's completely optional. But this is just what I do. I just ladder stitch around it so that there's no open space left, and you can do this with the inner ears too. I haven't done that yet because, like, you can't really tell that much. Like, it's not as big of a priority. But with the actual fur, I highly suggest doing that because it just improves the overall look. And it also makes it a lot more durable because if for some reason any foam were to rip, then there would be an extra seam of protection. So it just makes it a lot more durable. You want your suits to be durable so that they can have as long as lives as possible and you can enjoy their cute faces for a long time. So again, completely optional, but I highly recommend doing that. It just makes them a lot more durable and high quality. Alright, so my last tip for today is fur direction, specifically on the head and paws. Now, a lot of this is more of just a common mistake that I see newer makers do sometimes. A lot of the times it is unintentional, and this is like just general fur direction. Now, I made this mistake on my Fursuit Crystal. So, here she is. She's pretty... Yeah, so, what the fur direction on most mammal fursuits, and if you're making like some sort of extreme alien original species, you can do whatever you want with the fur direction, but for, say, a corgi, their fur goes, like, I like to think of this as start at the nose and then go this way, so like up away from the nose, not down towards it. Same with the paws. Think of it as the fur is going down your arm, not up it. I remember I used to make the fur going like up like this when it's supposed to be going down like this. It just depends on what species you're making. But as you can see with Crystal, I made the ear fur go down when it's supposed to go up because I was making a coyote. And then on the cheek fur, I made it go this way towards the nose when it's supposed to be going away from the nose. Now, this is just like a common mistake, and like it's completely fine if you've done this. It's not super noticeable. It just is like a general thing, especially if you're going for a specific species. If you're not going for like a specific species, then you don't really have to follow this. But I've just found that this works a lot better for me, and it just kind of improves the overall look of the suit. And like, it just kind of makes it like, this is just for this suit, but it made it look kind of more messy because like this fur was going that way, this was going this way, this was going up. Like, it was just like, it's just kind of a mess. But then once you get all the fur going in the same direction, like down on the paws, away from the nose on the head, down on the neck, like it just improves the overall look and quality of it again. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you learned some helpful techniques from it that maybe you can try yourself. If you didn't, that's totally okay. And if you're just watching this because you're watching it, I don't care. I'm glad you're supporting me. So I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching. Bye.